That most of my clients had no idea that when they went onto a platform, were being referred to a real estate agent. They had no idea that when they actually closed on the home they were buying or selling, that real estate agent was paying what's called a client referral fee to Redfin Realtors or these middlemen of 30, 40, 50% or more of the total commission.
Welcome to Pivoting to Web3 podcast, where experts break down AI, blockchain, and tech shaping our future. I'm Donna, and today's guest has insights you won't want to miss. Let's dive in. Welcome to Pivoting to Web3 podcast, and today we have Chad and Rob. And they are with Swyvvl. They're going to give us some great information in regards to what's happening on the real estate side of things, the application or the platform that they're building. And I'm going to turn it over to them because they've got so much going on that I can't really reiterate it very clearly on what's happening in real estate for those of us who haven't had a voice. So let's turn it over to Rob and Chad. Introduce yourselves to your audience and ours.
Well, I'm Chad. I am the co-founder and CEO of Swyvvl. I've been in real estate for about 18 years. During that time, I've owned 3 real estate brokerages, trained hundreds of agents, helped over 1,000 clients successfully buy and sell homes. My internal team has helped another 1,000 clients help and buy, sell homes. So on that end of things, that's my role in the company. And this is Rob, our CTO.
Yeah, and as a chief technology officer, it's my job to take a look at what technologies we're using in Swyvvl and really kind of just drive vision for the future of what we're going to be doing. And I've spent the last 2 decades in both the digital media and the technology space. So yeah, I was a former programmer, used to sit in a small room and sling code for a living, and got tired of that, wanted to be where the people are. So, here I am as a co-founder.
Well, I'm excited to have you, Rob Brower and Chad Link. I'm really glad to have you both here.
Well, thank you for having us.
And with that said, commissions and share models and everything that's been happening in the real estate side, what makes you different from talk about the traditional. I think this is a good place to go. Talk about the traditional and what makes you different. Let's get there right now.
Well, this is what I've realized in real estate over all the years. Normally a person may buy 1 to 2 or 3 homes in their entire lifetime. So there's a lack of knowledge and understanding of how the process works. So as I went through showing homes and helping clients over all of these years, I found out that most of my clients had no idea that when they went onto platforms like Redfin, Realtor, and Zillow, and that when they were being referred to a real estate agent, they had no idea that when they actually closed on the home they were buying or selling, that real estate agent was paying what's called a client referral fee to Redfin Realtors or these middlemen of 30, 40, 50% or more of the total commission. So they had no idea that their agent is paying, $5, $10, $15,000 or more to Redfin, Realtor, and Zillow. And since I've been a partner agent with all of these platforms, it always struck me as being really misleading that I could never tell them, number one. And number two, they never had any idea that this was going on. And I thought to myself over the years, I'm like, there's got to be a better way. These main platforms, these 5 or 6 of them are making anywhere roughly combined around about $8 to $10 billion a year off of these exorbitant marketing client referral fees. And I thought to myself, hey, how can we do this instead of giving this money to these big tech firms that all they're doing is providing an IDX feed for the property search, right? That you go on, you look for your home, etc. And then they connect you with a real estate agent. That's all they're doing. Basically, what we did is we built Swyvvl.
Yeah.
To remove middlemen like Redfin, Realtor, and Zillow from the equation and create a more equitable platform where home buyers and home sellers and real estate agents benefited rather than these big tech third-party real estate web platforms. So like I said, what most people don't understand is that when they go onto like a Trulia or a homes.com, and they look for a home and then they ask to be connected with a real estate agent, once they buy or sell that home, that they have, that real estate agent is paying an exorbitant what's called a client referral fee. And that client referral fee is 30, 40, 50% or more of the total commission. So depending upon the price of a house, that's $5, $10, $15, $20,000 or more that is automatically going to these big tech third-party real estate firms rather than going back to the home buyer and home seller whose business that is actually being sold. Now, over the years, I've worked with all these companies, and I could never tell my clients, hey, guess what? Yeah, I'm making this gross commission, but the reality is half of it is already going away. I'm paying it to Redfin, And the other part of it is, even though it's your business that's being referred, I don't get to share any of it with you. So I watch people as they're struggling with their down payments and they're struggling with their closing costs. And of course, we have interest rates that have risen back up into that 5.5%, 6.5% range. And I thought to myself, there's got to be a way for this, on average, like I said, it's about $8 to $10 billion between these companies. There's got to be a better way to infuse that back into the actual system that benefits home buyers and home sellers. So as the years went by, I figured out a way to be able to do it. I said, hey, instead of that money going to these third parties, let's give it back to the real estate agents and the home buyers and home sellers so they can invest it back into the process and then make this whole process cheaper than what it currently is. Because as we know, buying or selling a home is massively expensive. In fact, just recently in this last year, the average salary that an American makes no longer helps them purchase the average home. And that's just mind-numbing that at this point, the American dream of purchasing a home is so far away for example, late millennials, that Gen Z, and then of course now we got the alpha coming in at some point with all of this, and their hopes of ever purchasing a home are now gone. However, with Swyvvl, we allow home buyers and home sellers to be connected with real estate agents through a couple of our products, our flagship products. And that money, instead of going to a Redfin or Realtor or Zillow, or let's be honest, a Homes.com, for example, like this, Homes.com is spending about $1 billion a year on marketing. I mean, is that not just mind-numbing unto itself? So $1 billion a year to be able to gain market share, and yet none of that's going back to help the home buyers and home sellers. So Swyvvl was born, and Swyvvl allows home buyers and home sellers to go onto our platform. We have the same nationwide property search that Truly and Zillow and Redfin all have. We have the same number of homes. In fact, we have a little bit better coverage than some of them as far as the number of homes that are sitting on our platform. And they're also able to connect with a real estate agent through a couple of our products called Share by Swyvvl and Instant Agent Connect by Swyvvl. And those real estate agents will compete to represent that home buyer or home seller by saying how much of the commission they're willing to share with the home buyer and home seller instead of giving it to a platform like Redfin, Realtor, and Zillow.
So Rob, tell me what the software is really doing at that point. Are you using AI? Is it blockchain? What's making it different? Where are you at now in your technology, and where do you plan on going with it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our 1.0 technology stack was basically, our goal was, let's keep it simple and let's not try to expand too fast. And we've been dealing with the thought of how do we incorporate AI, how do we incorporate blockchain technology. But first the question was, can we actually solve the problem at hand? And so on our platform, the agents come on, and the first thing that we have to do is we have to vet these agents. So they give us their information, let us know where they are licensed to practice real estate. We're going to double check that. Now, as we move forward to version 2.0, a lot of that is going to be done by AI as we are able to integrate with different data sources for real estate agents. But we're finding that state by state, they all have different ways that we verify that. And so there's not one real good source for verification of real estate licensing. And so we have to basically go in state by state and figure out what's the best way for us to verify somebody from Wyoming versus Washington or North Carolina. And then once they're verified, they have access to the share experiences. And so all of the user information is kept secure. And when agents come on, they basically see all of the share experiences available in their state, and they can only bid on opportunities in states where they're licensed. And so the software prevents them from bidding on, if they're licensed in Washington only, they can't bid on something in California and thereby mess everything up. And so they don't know any of the user information. It's not even in the equation. And so only after the 5-day share experience is over, then that user information is exchanged, where the agent is going to get the buyer or seller's information and vice versa. And they will then continue to talk to each other directly and handle that off platform. And so what we love about that is if you bid on, I say I'm going to give 20% of my commission back at the end of the day, somebody outbids me by 25%. Now I'm not getting anybody's information. So our users can feel secure that their data is being kept private. It's not being shared with anybody else. We're not selling it to third parties or anything like that. Our goal is just to facilitate that connection. The other place that our data is going is, like Chad talked about, a nationwide IDX feed. I don't know if you've ever had to incorporate a nationwide IDX feed into a web app, but I haven't before. And it was a learning curve. I tell you, we are the very first iteration of the software did not have the feed. And then we kind of thought to ourselves, well, that's kind of silly because then somebody's going to go to a competitor like Zillow. They're going to find the house and then they're going to come to us and say, yeah, I'll create a share experience. It didn't make sense.
So tell me about the feed first for those that are listening and don't understand the feed.
Yeah.
So I'll jump in
Yeah.
just for
Go
a quick
ahead.
second, then I'll let you run with it. So what people, a lot of people don't understand is that the data, a house that's going to be put on the market, that
Mm-hmm.
information is entered into a platform by the real estate agent who's listing it. So, and those platforms are controlled by what's called local multiple listing services. Now, when I started in real estate 20 years ago, there were basically thousands of those. What people don't know is that the information, when a real estate agent takes on a listing, they then enter that information into what's called a local multiple listing service. Now, when I started like 20 years ago, there were thousands of multiple listing services, but as time has went on, those multiple listing services have been absorbed by each other. So for example, we're in Washington State. And in Washington State, the big dog is called the Northwest Multiple Listing Service, and they cover about 90% of the state
Okay.
on their side. So what will happen is a real estate agent will enter the property's information to the local MLS. And then what happens is the NWMLS then decides who they're going to share that information with, through basically what's called a syndication agreement. So that information is then syndicated out to like a Redfin, a Trulia, Zillow, those types of things. So throughout the United States right now, there's about 600 plus MLSs. Now, theoretically, you would have to become a member of every one of those MLSs in order to be able to get access to their data, to their information, because it's only available for
Okay.
their members, right? So as you can start to see, here's the complexity of all of this. So not only is it large in size, it's also massively expensive. You can pay anywhere between $60,000 to $100,000 a month just to be able to have what's considered a nationwide IDX feed going into your website, into your platform. However, on our end, and I'm not going to mention the company that we partner with, but on our end, we were fortunate enough to be able to partner with another company that has access to that nationwide IDX feed, and we're able to, of course, through them connect it right into our platform. So that was the big challenge, but it took about 2 years in order to
Yeah.
figure this all out. Because like Rob said, why do people go to real estate sites? They go to real estate sites to be able to search for homes and be able to get additional exposure for their homes.
And unfortunately, because of going from syndication to direct MLS data feed, we had to change up our tech stack twice. And we actually had to create a position and hire an Azure server administrator because with the syndication, the difficult thing was it was basically we had to pull the data twice a day. And we were responsible for making any changes immediately if we got notification that a house sold, right? Because the last thing you want to do, Don, is come on our platform and go, this is the house I want to buy, click on it, start that process, only to find out that house sold this morning. And so now, and I was asking the questions, I was like, we had to store all of the house images. So we'd pull them, we'd do a pull first thing in the morning, like 6 a.m., and we're pulling all these large amounts of data, and that pull could take 3.5 hours to finalize.
Wow.
If during that 3.5 hours something changed, now as soon as we got done pulling that data, we had to have our administrator go back and update it. And so it was just this never-ending task. We were just throwing a ton of money at it, and we were like, there's got to be a better way. And I said, why aren't they allowing us to link directly to their images? What's going on here? And the truth is, they probably didn't want to handle all that web traffic. And so they didn't want the bandwidth. But we found a partner. We were at one of the real estate shows, Blueprint, I believe it was, in Las Vegas. And we met with a data provider, and he said, I think we're a good fit and we could work together. And those things that you're asking, can we pull data live and just keep that live so when a house sells, it's automatically listed on our site as sold? And he said, yeah, we can provide that to you guys. And I tell you, it was a godsend, and we incorporated that. And so now our IDX feed is top notch, just right up there with everybody else's.
I'll say this, as I've taught real estate agents to, be successful and to be able to build their business, I say, hey, you have to get out there. You have to get in front of people. You have to be able to show who you are and show what your product is. And to be honest, I think this is a prime example of it. Everything we had done that for a company our size and where we were at said that it was going to be impossible for us to bring in that nationwide IDX search, that only companies that were making $1 billion or more were going to be able to afford to be able to not only access it, but also to be able to bring it in and incorporate it into their websites. So this is something that we searched for years. And we go to, Blueprint, which is, in Las Vegas, and it's a prop tech VC conference. So it's not technically a tech conference. It's not technically a real estate conference. It's really just a venture capital conference. And as we're there, we get approached by another company that says, hey, we would love to be able to partner with you. Something that we never even imagined could have happened. It gave us a relationship with this company to be able to provide a service, because when you're a small startup, you not only have to work hard, but you have to get a little bit lucky. You have to be able to have some people who believe in you and are able to, open some doors, open some windows for you. And that was just a prime example as we started to build Swyvvl, and we started to, from the ground up, where we can compete with the big boys that are $1 billion big boys and provide the exact same service that they do, but we don't have to spend the amount of money that they do on that end of things. So it's just one of those prime examples, like I said, about getting out there and getting your face seen and how important that is.
And speaking of not having to spend a lot of money, that's one of the beautiful things that sets us apart. Donna, our platform, we charge a flat fee to realtors, real estate agents, $199 a month, $199 a month. At the end of the day, once they close on that deal, they don't owe us a penny more.
Yep.
And that's it.
And home buyers and home sellers, it's always free. There's never a fee for them, because like we said, these other companies like Redfin and Truly and Zillow, when I started with them, they were charging these client referral fees of like 15, 20%. But as the years have went by, their costs have went up so much that they've had to increase their client referral fees to 40, 50% or even more. It's gotten to the point where they can't charge real estate agents any more money in order to be able to keep them afloat. So they're reaching this breaking point where there's no more money for them to be able to take, but their cost of running their business, i.e. their business plan, it wasn't sustainable long-term wise. So for example, Redfin has never turned a profit since the day they were made. Okay, has never been able to turn a profit whatsoever on their end. Truly and Zillow, about 2-3 years ago, they had basically an iBuyer program. They lost over $1 billion on it. So these are the things that these companies are doing that are losing tons of money, versus us being able to take that money and say, okay, hey, we're just going to take a really, really small piece, and we're going to let real estate agents and home buyers and home sellers benefit from all the rest, so that purchasing and selling homes becomes more affordable.
So as they continue to benefit, you have your buyers that are benefit, your sellers are benefiting, you're benefiting because you own the platform. At the end of the day, you now have the technology and the software coming in play. What enhances that? The centralization, decentralization? Is it the speed, the efficacy, efficiencies? What really changes it from the traditional? Is it quicker? I'm curious to paint a picture for somebody who's listening, where you hear the benefits. I can kind of imagine the benefits that are happening in Redfin and Zillow and all the rest of them. But how does that really matter to somebody listening, getting ready to do something on a platform? Why should they choose you, and are they a fit for you? Who are you looking for?
Yeah, our platform is for all real estate agents, all home buyers and sellers, because the bottom line is this. Just recently, this last year, the average home price in the Seattle area where we're at just hit $1 million. And as Chad said, the average salary can no longer afford the average home. And so if somebody goes onto another site and they buy $1 million home, they're going to get $1 million home. Good for them. They're going to spend $30,000, $36,000 in commission. On our site, they're going to get the same $1 million home, but the difference is at the end of the day, of that $36,000 that they spend in commission,
Yeah, where's it going?
$15,000, $18,000 back in their pocket. Now they can use that for down payment, closing costs, new furniture, pay off their car note. I mean, that makes buying a house way more affordable for anybody. So the choice is simple. As a buyer seller on our platform, would you rather go to their place, their platform, buy that $1 million house and get $1 million house, or go to our platform, get the same house and get cash back? I mean, we think that's pretty simple, a no-brainer. For the agents, what we offer is unparalleled control over their client acquisition costs, because they get to see, unlike the other platforms, they get to see this is the price range that they're looking to buy. This is the time
Mm-hmm.
frame they're looking to buy in, whether it's a cash offer or whatever. They get all that information up front before they even decide whether they want to bid on it. And they can bid on the ones that they like, and they can ignore the ones that they don't want. And it's scalable. So a newer agent might see a $300,000 or $400,000 home and go, "Yeah, I give 25% of my commission to close that deal because." Let's be honest, they haven't. What's the stat, Chad? Most agents don't close one deal in a year.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't realize with our business. 87% of real estate agents are out of the business in 5 years or less. Over half of all real estate agents don't even do one deal in a year. So what this allows agents to be able to do is have, like Rob said, unparalleled control of their client acquisition costs, because outside of that $199 a month fee, they don't pay that amount that they've agreed to share with the home buyer, home seller until the successful closing of a home. So that means that money is already in their bank account. So that means it's a for sure thing with that. So for example, agents who receive client leads from Zillow, they may pay, there's an upfront program where they pay, say, about $72,000 a year in order to get about monthly 8 to 12 potential client leads with no guarantee that those client leads will ever close, because there's roughly an average of 1 to 3% successful conversion ratio with that. So what they do is they get in this, they're behind the 8 ball. They're in the red constantly because they're paying $72,000 a year. However, they're not closing enough deals out of that in order to make it worthwhile. So they are losing money on their business, and then very quickly they are out of their business on their side. So that's what we said. We want to make things life-changing for home buyers and home sellers and real estate agents and really change things. Like Rob said, when they close on that home, that $1 million home that they're looking to purchase, and it's so sad that $1 million home is basically an entry-level home. Like, it shocks the living daylights out of me, because when I started, these entry-level homes were $150,000 to $250,000, and now we're like at $1 million for an entry-level home. But this allows them to have additional cash. So instead of that cash going to a Redfin or Truly or Zillow, that cash is being given back to home buyers and home sellers and real estate agents in this process.
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, I'm kind of confused. Maybe it's just me. So where does the blockchain fit in on this?
That's a great question. So we're looking in version 2.0 to take the transactions and contracts and stuff into the blockchain technology, and also using the blockchain technology as we verify agents, because we need to hold on to their credentials. And so we want to make sure that all that information is secure. And we know that the blockchain technology is the way to go as it comes to that. And so we're looking to introduce smart contracts. And you've probably heard of other companies using blockchain technology for smart contracts. And with the use of AI, we're also looking to enable real estate agents, as you talked about, to do their job easier and more efficiently. Fewer errors in the paperwork. AI will be able to spot, hey, you transposed numbers here. Hey, this didn't get signed, to make sure that everything is happening the way it's supposed to happen, so that real estate agents can work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. We're looking at version 2.0 to bring the entire transaction onto the platform. And by bringing that entire transaction on the platform, of course, there'll be blockchain, involved with all of it, crypto involved with all of it, and of course, AI that will be assisting all of that. So that's the next step, the next version for the platform for us.
So the tokenization, the smart contracts, and everything that's decentralized and Web3 and blockchain and make life easier, and it's going to be very secure. That's going to happen in your 2.0.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ultimately, our goal is to increase transparency, remove middleman and intermediaries. We want to be able to handle the transaction from beginning to end without having to send data across to anybody else. But it allows homeowners to maintain ownership of their data. We don't need that going out there to anybody else. And so, yeah, we're looking forward to being able to introduce more of this technology. It was built in the DNA of Swyvvl. I mean, what we're doing is we're seeking to do is basically take the power away from the middlemen who have been holding it for so long, and basically give the power back to the people. And that would be the home buyers and sellers and the real estate agents.
So when you give it back to the people, what happens to the investors? Do you work with them?
Oh, that's a great question. Investors or money lenders for mortgages. We are working with mortgage lenders as well on our platform. And so one of the nice things for home buyers and sellers is usually they go to a real estate site and they find the house. But then the agent goes, "Are you pre-approved?" And they go, "No, I'm not pre-approved." They're like, "Well, go get pre-approved and then come back and talk to me." Well, we have members of Swyvvl that are lenders, And when a person fills out their client profile, they say whether or not they're pre-approved. And if they're not, one of our member lenders will contact them and get that process going and hold their hand from beginning to end, just making it nice and easy and simple, so that when the agent is connected with them at the end of the day, they already know, hey, they're pre-approved for this amount, and there's no more running around to get this or that. They can do everything in one spot.
So the houses that you get on your platform, these are the homeowners that want to sell.
Yes.
What happens to the associations? There's a lot of associations in the United States. Do you work with those type of groups, or you're just working with the independent homeowners?
So we work. Swyvvl is used by everybody. It's
Yeah, that's what
by
I'm
the
trying to really
individual.
get to
Yeah,
is like, okay, because there's some platforms that have come into being since COVID, let's say,
yeah.
and they're doing a lot of associations or they're niching down in different ways. I want to know, like, who exactly is your audience beyond the owners, buyers, sellers, which is everybody? Are there any other specialty groups or organizations or?
Well, one thing, and Rob kind of just lightly touched on it, is, of course, on the investor end of things. Now, like what we talked about, you're having a platform where the data feed that's coming in from the local multiple listing services. However, there's all these properties out there where there's a significant number of them where the home seller doesn't want to be on the MLS. And also,
Right.
we want to facilitate investors, wholesalers, etc., to be able to find their next deals. So the next step of our platform is to be able to allow whoever it is, whether it's an investor, whether it's an individual homeowner, or whether it's going to be a company that, or REIT or whatever, that maybe has 1,000 homes they want to sell, we're going
Yeah.
to facilitate that where they're able then to come onto our platform, and this will be a different level of membership to be able to have
Right.
access to this. But this will allow an investor, so for example, let's say you're the investor, this will allow you to be able to come onto Swyvvl and say, okay, hey, guess what? There is this company or this organization or an REIT or whoever it is. They have 500 homes they want to sell between the Atlanta area and
Yeah.
Florida and wherever it is, and this is going to be the average price to sell per house, because we know that's what's going on, right? Whether it's, and we know the companies that have already been doing this. For example, like Home Partners of America, who I work with on this side, where they have bought thousands and thousands and thousands of homes, rented them out, and now they're selling them. So now they're all hitting the market. In fact, it's not just thousands, it's hundreds of thousands of homes that they've purchased on their side. But we're able to facilitate that process between, for example, an individual investor or a corporate investor, and also an individual seller or a corporate seller on various ranges, whether they're selling one home or whether they have 100,000 homes to sell, for example, like HPA, they'll be able to find that on our platform. And then again, like I said, this is all things that unfortunately you gotta crawl before you walk and walk before you run with business and companies. I always tell my agents this. I go, when I started my business, we were in a little 25 foot by 25 foot windowless office, and there was 4 of us, but there was only 2 desks, and we were just standing basically and sitting on the edge of the desk whenever any of us happened to be there at one time. And where I'm at now is not where we were at before with all of it, but that's definitely, because like I said, I've been in the real estate for over 20 years now, so I want to make sure that we're able to bring and fill those holes to where investors, whether you're a small investor, whether you're a big corporate investor, can be connected with either, whether they're selling or whether they're buying.
What would you say was the most valuable insight from our conversation today?
As the CTO, the tech guy, I love what you're doing and what your audience is into. And while we haven't achieved it yet, I'm really excited about incorporating new technologies. And I honestly want to hear from people like your audience, what are the things that they're interested in? One thing that we didn't get a chance to talk about is I was talking about user data, and there's a lot of
Yeah, let's
people
talk
are
about
afraid
that. We
of.
can still talk about it. Let's talk
Yeah.
about it.
A lot of we hear all these like data breaches that happen and whatnot, but one of the really cool things that has been transitioning with Web3 onto the blockchain is verifiable digital identities. And so
Right.
what's cool about that is, I don't know if you've heard about this yet, Chad. It's really cool. I nerd out on this stuff,
Yeah,
right?
this means he has to talk down to me off of this, because I don't
No, it's
quite
not, man. But I
understand
knew
the
he
whole
had something
thing.
else going on. I saw the light bulb then. We hadn't
Oh,
gotten
yeah.
there yet.
So
So
what's cool about this is once you have a verified digital identity, that information is kept on the blockchain. And so different apps, you know how like you can log into different apps with your one Google
Oh
account?
yeah.
So it's basically like that. A home buyer or home seller that has a verified digital identity can come onto our platform and we know who they are. And we have their information verified, so they don't
Right.
have to give us any information. So we're not holding on to any data that can be leaked anywhere, which is really cool. And then agents can know that that data has already been verified. Because let's be honest, anybody can come onto a site and say, I make $1 million a year and I want to get pre-approved.
Right.
Now the pre-approval process has to happen. They check that and they go, well, you don't make $1 million a year. You make, 50,000 a year, and then you have a bunch of stock options, but they're not liquid. So
Mm-hmm.
really, and so once you have this verified identity, that data transfer happens on the blockchain and it's verified, and we don't have to wait. It's instant.
Yeah.
So a lender can go, oh, hey, boom, pull up Chad link. Oh, I see that you're verified. Done. And they know that they can approve you for $2 million. And it's a done deal. So it's going to make things a lot quicker and a lot safer for everybody. And I'm excited about that.
I absolutely love when he nerds out.
Well, I like the nerding out too. So, but let's loop this back around. So now you have everybody taking their titles and they're taking their houses and they doing a lot of false fraud things. Can that happen once you go into the blockchain? I don't think so, but
No.
I need to hear it from you.
Yeah. So far, everything has been showing that everything's becoming more secure, and it is really where the future of all data is headed. I mean, there's going to come a time in the next decade where if you're not on the blockchain, you're not going to be in existence. I mean, you have to incorporate that technology and that security into your system. Otherwise, you're going to fade away out of existence. And so that's the direction we're heading. We want to adopt these technologies, but not rely so heavily on them that if there is a failure, we're done.
Yeah, we're very excited about that, the possibilities and what we're able to do and incorporate blockchain into this whole process with all. Not only does it make it simpler and faster, it also makes it more secure, and it also allows people, the more people you remove from a process, right, normally the better it becomes. When you start incorporating more and more people, not only does it cost more, but there's also that potential for more errors, more leaks of the information. The information's in use. For example, I was a police officer for many years before I went into real estate. And I'm very well, back then, people were stealing mail out of the mailbox, and they were taking checks and they were washing them, and then they were then depositing them, right, on their side of things. It's just the process has, the crime has remained the same, but it's just went a little bit more technologically advanced. But by doing blockchain, we're able to cut that whole process out and make it much more secure. Now, will it be completely infallible? Of course, there's things that we're gonna have to learn as we go through the process, but it does make it more secure and makes it a lot cheaper, and it also makes the process a lot easier.
So, what do you want the listeners to take away from our conversation? What's that one thing you want them to take away?
Yeah, for me on this end, because I'm very consumer and customer
Right.
based, right, with my
Yeah.
end, I really, for where my heart is at, I really want home buyers and home sellers to understand the process, understand how they've been taken advantage of over all these years, and
Mm-hmm.
understand that there's a new platform with us. There's a new way of doing it where they're first, instead of some tech guy who has never sold a home, never worked as a real estate agent, never had to worry about buying a home on their end of things because they're financially well off, and they're telling home buyers and home sellers what the process should be like. That they know that our platform is built from the ground up by home buyers, by home sellers, and by real estate agents to benefit home buyers and home sellers and real estate agents. I'm not sitting here trying to pump up stock options because then I'm going to sit there and when we go public, I make tons and tons of money. That's not where my heart is. And I really want that process that if we're going to spend these billions of dollars like we already are, let's make sure home buyers and home sellers benefit from it. We don't need to be letting people like Glenn Kellerman, et cetera, and benefit from this when they're not necessary for the process. So that's what I want them to take from. I want them to know more about what's going on with it, educate them, and then help benefit them.
Yeah. That's a good answer, Chad. And honestly, I would have probably given that same answer. And as you were talking, I thought, man, he stole my answer. But I would say in addition to all of that, Donna, I would like the listeners to take away this idea that are we a prop tech company? Yes. And I think people that are used to the traditional way of doing things are sometimes afraid to venture into things that are more high tech. But I would love them to know that although we are a tech company, I firmly believe in high tech and high touch. We're going to continue to advance technology for their benefit, but we're going to always remain high touch because we're not trying to eliminate agents from the equation. We believe still the best way for you to buy a house is to have somebody that knows the ins and outs of the industry represent you fairly. But the difference here is at the end of the day, on our platform, you're going to get money back. So it's going to benefit you financially as well. We just want to make the home buying and selling process as smooth, safe, and equitable for everybody. And that's what I'd love for them to take away.
Investors look at us as a prop tech company, right? And that's how they view us.
When you say prop, you mean property tech?
Yeah, as a prop tech.
Okay.
Yeah, they look at us as a prop tech company, whether we're presenting to VCs or angel investors or any of the people we partner with, and that's what they really care about, and that's what they look at us. But we know that we're really a consumer company. That's where our success lies, and by mirroring the two, the consumer with technology that works, not technology that's so damn complicated that people don't know how to use it, but by mirroring with technology that works and makes their life actually simpler and makes it easier, that's where the success lies.
Okay,
Amen.
so let me ask you this. Let's talk about AI. We talked a little bit about blockchain, but I got a question about AI. So now you have your 2.0 coming out, and you've got AI advancing in leaps and bounds. You've got the started from your LLMs and your generative, and then you get your AI agents. Now you got the agentics, and then they taking off on their own, doing little things in there. What you guys got going on with the AI? What's happening with that?
Our goal isn't to use AI to replace the agents. I just want to be very clear about that. We're not going down that road. Our
Okay.
goal is to use AI to make the agent's job as simple as possible and also to make the home buying and selling process as simple as possible without giving too much away about what's in R&D right now. AI is going to be integrated into the property search to help home buyers find better matches, because there's a lot being left on the table when somebody's searching for a home and they don't know what they need to search for. They're going to get a limited list of results that are basically limited by price and number of bathrooms and bedrooms. But we know there is so much more to a home than just the data. Like the size of the plot. Am I on a quarter acre with 5 bedrooms, 3 baths? Yeah, there are a lot of homes that meet that. But what's the buyer really interested in? Do they have school-age children? They're looking for schools nearby, walking distance. Do they like being outdoors? They want to be near a dog park. Like all of these intangibles, that data is out there, and we're integrating that into our search so that they'll be able to pull up those results and limit it to, I only want to find a house, but with these specs, but within driving distance of a grocery store, walking distance of a park, et cetera. And we think that's going to make it a lot better. But also on the back end for agents, like I mentioned earlier, making sure that agents are checking off all the boxes and doing everything properly so it doesn't become a headache later and come back to bite them.
So you'll be able.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So on my end, this is what I've always been concerned about with AI. I think you can have AI just to have it, or you can have AI that's useful. And on the end of where we're at right now, I think we're learning what parts of it are useful and what parts of it are just noise. And on our side, this is where I think AI is really, really powerful, and I'm excited generally where we're going without giving up too much
I
information.
want you to give up as much as you can give me. So this is real interesting. So I don't have to do this anytime soon. And we are ahead of the game. So give me something that's not out there that we can share.
Yeah. So this is the story I'll tell. We all have clients on the real estate agent end of things where the client says, this is what I want for a home. I want 3 bedrooms. I want 2 baths. I want 2,500 square feet or more. And I want to be near a lake. Okay. And then we show them homes for the next 6-8 months, a year, trying to fulfill all that criteria that they give us. And then, excuse my language, but damn it, they buy a house that's the complete opposite of what they've told us they've wanted. Okay. Like the complete opposite. Like you're nowhere near water. You're like 15 miles away from it.
Nowhere near
like an A-frame. And this thing is like 1,200 square feet and all these things. And what I've learned with all of this is that the power of AI on my end of what I want to do is that as you are looking at homes, there's a lot of intangibles that your brain does not even know or recognize that you're looking at. Right. So for example, with AI, and I'll just say this with the kitchen, let's say that as you're searching, our AI is then learning that, hey, you are looking at homes that may have granite countertops, but they're all light colored. They're all white, gray colored. There may be something in each of these kitchens, like for example, a certain type of overhanging light, or a certain type of style of the refrigerators, a certain type of style of the stove.
Well, you're going all in. You're going all in. I know what you're saying.
And then it's able to bring those things that you are not you're not tangibly thinking about, right? When you're looking for homes, it's now bringing those, because it's noticing that you're spending more time looking at these kitchens that have, granite countertops that are light colored. Okay.
Learning
And
all
it's now
about you.
exactly. Now it's bringing all these aspects, and that's just one aspect of looking at homes, right? Now you're looking at, even just like I said, on the kitchen, the type of stove. Are you looking at glass ones, or gas stoves, or do you like the electrical ones with the flat tops? All these things that people, when I ask them, I go to Rob, what type of home you're looking for, he doesn't tell me, hey, yeah, I really would like an electric stove with a glass top. I really would like granite countertops or quartz countertops, or I really like butcher block countertops. Those are things that he's not even thinking about, and he's not being brought to, but those are things that he's emotionally attaching to. And AI with us will allow somebody that, as they're searching, it's learning what they're spending more time on. It's learning what's important to them emotionally, and then it's bringing those properties to the forefront with them.
All right, I'll give you one more tidbit, Donna.
Thank you so much.
I'll
Now
give you
we
one
getting
more.
there.
All right. And so I assume you've gone on to a home search site and found a home that you might be interested in at some point in your life. Now, one question that you always go is, man, how's my stuff going to look in that home? And so there is AI product development right now happening that will allow you to take a look at any home on the MLS, whether it's furnished or not, and replace it with your style of furniture, your paint color, et cetera, so that you can see that house staged as though it's been lived in by you. And it will basically remove all the furniture, so you have an empty room, and then you can take a picture of your house and your living room, and it'll say, okay, this is what your furniture would look like in this living room. And
all those folks that want to put their stamp on something,
yeah,
they can do more than stamp it right now. They can actually move on in there and see what it look like.
They can see what it looks like with their kids' mess and all. Like, this is what this room will look like with my kids' Legos all over the floor. I mean, they don't have to pretend and think about it. They can see it. And the technology for that is getting better and better as AI is better able to recognize, well, this wall disappears behind this, couch, but I know that it's going to end here because it can tell how big the room is, and it's learning dimensions, and it's just getting better and better, the photo manipulation side of AI. And so I'm excited to bring that to the forefront too.
I'm excited about the personalization and the preferences.
Yeah,
that's a winner. So
Yeah,
your
100%.
smart contracts are definitely going to take the time away from all the process and the ownership and the mortgage, and then who owns what. It's just going to be easy peasy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Easy peasy.
Love that.
All right. This is Pivoting to Web3. Is there anything I need to share? Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. One last thing. How do people reach out to you?
That's a good question. They can reach me directly if they want to email me, rob@swyvvl.com, and Swyvvl is SWIVVL.
And you can reach me at chad@swyvvl.com. Same spelling for Swyvvl. So you're good on that. And then Chad, of course, CHAD. And then we also have all of our social media platforms that are out there between Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff. But for your listeners, they have our direct contact if they like to reach out to us.
Okay, this sounds really awesome. This is not a 30-minute podcast for sure.
Again,
we didn't make it, but I
told you we wouldn't.
Pivoting to Web3 podcast, and thanks for shaping them all together with us. It's really been great. This is Donna Mitchell, and we've got Chad and Rob, and I hope you have a wonderful evening, day, or morning.
Thanks for tuning in to Pivoting to Web3 podcast. If you're a developer, innovator, or AI expert with insights to share, or if you're looking to partner, let's connect. Visit MitchellUniversalNetwork.com and be part of the conversation. Want more content? Check out my playlist for more episodes. See you next time.